across state lines with hillbillies and guns. It's been a hell of a ride and a whole lot of fun. They gave me many names down there in Dixie, but the main one that stuck on me was whiskey.
And welcome to another episode of the Bourbon and Ballistics podcast, the show where we talk a little about whiskey, a little about firearms, and a whole lot of everything in between. I'm your host, Joel Potter. I invite you to sit back, relax, pour yourself a glass as we talk some bourbon and ballistics. Today's episode is a fine line between chaos and control. It's a balance held by craftsmen, problem solvers, and people who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. Joining me today is just one of those people. Vinny, how the hell are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming down. You're living up in Reno, and so I appreciate you making the drive down. He's a knife guy out of Reno, Nevada, and he's known for. He's a blade sharpener, and so he's. I think that the theme here today is fire, really, because you're a full-time firefighter up at Truckee Meadows?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you've been there for
17 years.
17
total.
years, yeah. And that's fantastic. So I think that the whiskey's going to play really well with this today. We're going to be drinking the American Metal whiskey, and we'll go ahead and get into this bottle real quick, and then we'll get into your story, okay?
Sounds good.
So it's distilled in Tennessee, barreled in Vermont. It comes in at 90 proof, 45 ABV. It's got a mash bill of 80% corn, 10% malted barley, and 10% rye. The bottle itself is unique in shape and size, and I think that it's beautiful. The label is actually a collaboration with the Dan Sheridan Studio, and did a really fantastic job. The bottle itself was gifted to me by my buddy AJ Newsome, owner of Redbeard Leather, and so I figured this is a perfect play. Again, as we're going to be dealing with metal. So let's get this poured up and let's start talking some bourbon ballistics. Like I said, never tried this before. I've been interested to see, and
I haven't either, so I'm excited.
Yeah, and I guess while I'm pouring this up, let's talk about your whiskey. Journey. Like, where are you at on it? How are you with whiskey?
Zero.
Drink a lot of it? Zero. Okay.
I try. I'm just not a big drinker, unfortunately. I just never really got into it.
Okay.
But, I'm just excited to try just the different whiskeys and stuff like that, and try to find something that I actually like.
Okay.
So,
and this should be a pretty smooth. Like I said, for 90 proof, it should be nice and easy for you.
I like it.
And so the color on it does seem, like I said, we're coming in under 5 years of aging, so it is a little light to the eyes, but on the nose, almost like you got the dried fruits. It's smooth. It smells smooth. Well, before we get cheersing on this, I want to give Russ a big shout out again for these Glencairns and the coasters. They turned out phenomenal. So Russ over at Nevada Cerakote, thank you. He's doing all the laser engraving and stuff now. So just a little ode to him real quick. So thanks for coming, Vinny.
Thank you so much for having me. I like that a lot. That's very smooth.
That's fun.
I like that one.
It's almost it's almost, to with the nose, it's almost got a little bit of sweetness to it. I can't say like an apricot or fantastic. So yeah, this whiskey, just a little bit more about it. It's made for people who build things. The owners of the company looks like they're mechanics by trade, mostly hot rods and motorcycles and stuff like that. It's kind of a gritty, fun company. Go check them out on Instagram. American Whiskey, super fun. So we'll get into this and we'll kind of just visit back, after we get a couple sips on it. But let's talk about you. Let's talk about your journey. Let's talk about how the knife guy became the knife guy. Give me your story.
So working at the fire department, we always take rotations cooking, and then over time I just got a passion for loving to cook really good food. And then I had some really good knives, and I was like, oh, well, these are getting dull. How do I sharpen them? And then there's a local grocery store here in town, and they offer free knife sharpening. I'm like, okay, perfect. I'll take my my Japanese knife over there and knew nothing about it. And then, well, first I tried to I watched a few cooking shows, and you see very famous chefs. They take that steel rod and they just take the knife very fast. I'm like, oh, I could do that. That's super easy. And I made my knife as dull as a butter knife. I'm like, oh, this is horrible. So then I was like, oh, let me take it to this grocery store, and the butcher sharpened them overnight. I'm like, okay, that's perfect. It's free. I'll go back there, pick up some groceries. Win-win. I go back there, and then this knife just has all these scratches on it, and the tip is burnt up. So they actually use two grinding wheels and with a pull-through sharpener.
Ow.
And so with the Japanese knives, they have to be sharpened at a certain angle. This one's at 15 degrees, and they just put like a very wide bevel on it. So change the profile essentially, put cosmetic scratches on it, and then they burnt up the tip. So I'm like, okay, well, that sucked. A lesson learned. So then I just went on YouTube and then just overloaded with the myriad of just sharpening videos. I'm like, how do I do this? So every video I saw, these people would use these very high grits of like 10,000 grit and sharpening them. Like, oh man, they're making a razor sharp, slicing tomatoes and cutting paper like it's nothing. And I was like, oh, okay, so I just need a high grit stone. That's perfect. And then trying to figure out how to freehand sharpen, I'm like, oh yeah, I can't do this. This is this is horrible. And so I would legit spend like a couple hours in my garage. I'm like, why isn't that like, how come it's not getting sharp? This is horrible. And then just going down more of a rabbit hole, I'm like, oh, I have to start with the lower grit. So then I bought some diamond stones, and then I'm like, okay, I'm putting a burr on it, but the angle's not consistent at all. Because my hands were shaky. I'm like, okay, I'm nervous. How do I do this without scratching up the knife even more? So I found this fixed angle system where I can set the angle to whatever I want, and I can use whatever stone I want, which is pretty rad. And then over time, it's like, oh, okay. So I sharpen it with a very coarse grit, and then I refine it to, a very polished edge, and then I use a leather strop with some diamond compound to remove any burr that's left over. And yeah, that kind of just led to, I'm like, okay, I'm getting pretty good at this. So I sharpened for my friends and family. I was like, hey, you guys need your knife sharpened? And they're like, yeah. So probably did my 20, 30 knives. I'm like, oh, maybe I can make a little, money at this since I'm pretty good. Took several months to get decent, and then we made a post on Nextdoor, and then this lady reached out to me. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited. And I went to pick up her knives. She had 6 knives that just had these giant chips in it, and the tips are broken off. I'm like, oh god, how do I fix this? And so I spent like 2 days repairing her knives when I quoted her only like a few hours.
Oh geez.
And it was just a disaster. I got them all very sharp, and then I go back in there, and one of her employees like, hey, are you the knife guy? I'm like, oh, I am. That's a great name for my company. I didn't even have a name. I was like, hi, I'm Vinny, and I sharpen knives. Like, it was very basic. So that actually just led for my first customer of like, hey, are you like the knife guy? I'm like, yes, I am. And then understanding that I can get better on whetstones and diamond stones and just hand sharpening. But I was like, if I can make this an actual business, I can't just do that. It takes too long. So then I found these electric sharpeners, and that's what I'll use on your EDCs today, actually. And they're just customizable. Like, I have different grits for different jobs, and I can adjust the angle to whatever it is, so I can bevel match without taking off any extra steel. And then I can refine it to a very high polished edge, and then take the burr off. It's a very easy process now. But it took over 3 years to figure out all my mistakes and ruining knives. Like, okay, how do I become proficient? And then once you make posts, people demand 100% satisfaction with it. And so they trust you with their Japanese-made knives, their family heirlooms. And you're like, I can't screw this up. And so it was a very long process of actually making many mistakes and owning up to it. And then like, okay, don't make this mistake again. And then just refining the process to what I have now.
So you, I did see at some point. So you were on shift. You guys take turns, like a rotation for cooking. And so are you? Is culinary arts something that you're into, or is that just you have to cook and it's just your turn and you just gotta slap something up for the guys?
Yes to both.
Okay.
If you're a horrible cook, the guys will let you know, and you get shamed. You know, just like on Game of Thrones, like shame. So I got hired at 21, so very young, and then I never really had to cook for myself except making mac and cheese and top ramen. So now I'm cooking for other adults. You know, I'm like, oh my god. So I would call like my mom, like, all right, mom, how do I make like this pasta sauce and this meat sauce? And I would go out in the bay and hang up with her and write down the next step, chop up this onion, and all the knives at the station are dull, and there's not many people take care of them. They throw them in the dishwasher, they bang them on the countertop. They just don't take good care of them. And I almost burned down the station the first time cooking, you know. So I made this meat sauce, and I saw my mom do it. I'm like, okay, I got this. And then we had a call, so I turned the sauce down to low. We come back, and we're back in the engine, and my fireman's like, hey, man, we got a fire. I'm like, yeah, let's go. He's like, no, it's in the station. You're getting fired. I'm like, oh, my God. So I quickly had to learn of like, okay, how do I cook? And then, you know, I took cooking classes, went online and just did in-person classes, and then just fell in love with actually cooking. But in turn, like, you need sharp knives to cook efficiently. And I never really put two and two together in that sense until I got my own chef's knife. I'm like, this is dull. I can't even cut a tomato. I need to find a solution. And I was like, oh, I'll just do this for myself. And I realized, if my knife is dull, I'm sure many other people's knives are dull. So then I was like, I could turn this into a little side business, and it's grown very, very well.
So let's talk about that, because we were talking about before we started recording. There is a key balance, the work-life balance, right? And now you've had this hobby that's turned into more of a second job, right? You're a fairly new dad. Right. So now you have a greater family responsibility, right? What does that balance look like for you?
It's very tough. So my son's 3 months old, and it's been amazing having him. But when my wife was pregnant, you know, we had to have a sit down, because I would spend a lot of time in the garage at night of just sharpening. And I was like, I have to get this done. I have to get this done. It's a very hard concept to, now we have a family. You know, it's like, okay, I have my wife. It's like, we have our family now. I have to put time in, and growing this business from nothing to where it is now is like, this is my own personal baby in that sense of just being selfish in that way. And then it's like, oh, and then the second that my son was born, I'm like, oh, nothing else matters. Like, having him is just amazing. So when I have customers, I make appointments, and I tell them, like, because before I was like, hey, bring your knives by. I offer same day turnaround time, and I still do a lot. But now I have to work around like my son's schedule, and then like, I mean, usually people are totally fine waiting a day or two for their knives if it's not urgent. So I just tell them, like, hey, just drop. We'll make an appointment at this time, and I try and plan out like my son's naps and stuff like that. But you know, he's 3 months, so he's gonna make his own schedule.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, everything else can go to the wayside, and just try and focus on my son and my family now. So that's the biggest transition from like growing the knife company to what it is, but stepping back a little bit. It's like, I have my family to take care of. So. And
are your clients, I mean, for the most part, accepting of that, I would assume, right?
Yeah, 100%. When I tell them I'm a fireman, and so I'm on for a couple of days at a time, they are completely understandable of like, okay, it's totally fine. And you know, usually these knives are dull for many years before they find me, so they're fine waiting another couple of days.
Yeah. I had a friend, and this is kind of to your story, you know, when you're screwing them up, right? Her mom was like, can you sharpen these? And I was like, oh yeah, of course. I've seen it with, like I said, with the long stick thing, whatever. And I'm like, no, I went and put them on my dad's grinding wheel, right? And I thought I had to, dude, I took the knives down like the half the size they were. I was like, ruined every one of them.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And it was terrible. So it is not like a real easy thing to pick up. And I think like the bevels and especially when you get into the higher end knives, I mean, like you're saying, you get one chance to make that thing right, and you got to know what you're doing. So pretty interesting. So you created a name for yourself, not just locally, because you're doing mail-in stuff too, right?
Yes.
So what's your client base looking like as far as geographics? Like, where are the locations that you're getting knives from?
So last year I sharpened for a few vendors at the Rib Cook-Off, and a few of them have reached out back to me. So I sharpened for this one company, and they're just north of Memphis. And so all the way from Memphis, I get stuff from Lake Tahoe a lot. And yeah, they ship them through USPS. Very simple on a flat rate box, and we just updated our website to try to show that even more.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the next big thing. Is like I'm doing really well in Reno, but I'm like I want to expand and just sharpen knives for as many people as I can.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm going back to the rib cook-off again, and then we just had a few calls driving up here actually for a manufacturer that makes knives. So knife blanks they want me to potentially sharpen.
Oh wow.
So we're in the middle of discussing that actually.
Very cool.
But yeah, I never thought of doing like the mail-in service. I thought it'd be too difficult. But when I talked to the people on the phone and tell them like the turnaround time, they're very happy of like, oh, you can get it done in a few days. Usually if you have a Shun, for example, they offer free lifetime sharpening, but the turnaround time is at least a week.
Oh.
So I can guarantee it within 48 hours. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you have any cool stories of I mean, as your name has grown, as people are finding you, I mean, cool clients?
Yeah, you and I talked earlier. So Russ here at Nevada Cerakote, awesome guy, had a few rifles actually done by him. So I reached out to him if I could do some pop-up events because guns and knives usually go hand in hand. And so we said a few times. I sharpened at his place a few times, and then he told one of his friends, he's like, hey, I know this guy Steve, like you might know him, to come by. Like, I don't know Steve. And then he shows me a picture, like, oh, it's Steve Austin. Yes, I know of him. So he came by and got a few of his knives sharpened, and then he was very happy. So he called me up. He cold called me like the next day. I didn't even give him like my number. So he found me and then dropped off 50 knives.
Wow.
So it was cool doing that. He was a very nice guy to chat with, very appreciative of all the knives I sharpened for him. But yeah, I mean, private chefs have reached out to me, and then just everyday people, you know, because that's 99% of my clientele is just people like you and me, just normal people who have dull knives and need them sharpened.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've been reaching out to restaurants, and chefs have reached out to me, and then through the power of social media, people have just been finding me and been trying to send me knives all over the country now.
I was doing a little bit of research on you. It's amazing. I mean, it's like some of the people that have reached out to you for something like this. I mean, interviews and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of Reno, I can't remember what the one, Reno Business and Review or something like. Anyways, I've seen like
the Reno News and a review.
Thank you. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, I just saw that. That was cool, and it's neat to see that something like this that started off as just something that you're going to be doing kind of on the side, you know, friends and family, now is taking off as much as it has. It's pretty cool.
It's incredible. I asked my wife, like, did you ever think this would grow like this? You know, just we're doing this as a hobby, and she's like, I never thought it would be like this. And I think the biggest thing is like I'm taking the customer service aspect from the fire department over to the knife sharpening. Mm-hmm. You know, people have their knives for 10 plus years, and they just, you know, this is my favorite knife, but it's not very expensive. I'm like, do you put oil in your car? Do you like maintain it? If it's important to you, then it's important, and I'll sharpen it. So that's the biggest thing, is just having the customer service aspect, because I feel like anybody can learn how to sharpen knives by just going above and beyond. Of like, I don't charge extra for chip repairs or damaged tips on knives. It's just I'm right there sharpening. It's very easy. I know other sharpeners charge extra for that, so I just, you know, I try and wrap them up in nice butcher paper and custom made knife sheaths, and just try to provide the best customer service.
What part of the process of the knife sharpening process do you find the most rewarding?
I love sharpening extremely damaged knives.
Yeah.
I've had many people say like, I'm about to throw this knife away. This is garbage. I'm like, let me show you what I can do. And it took a while to actually gain that confidence. I'm like, oh my God, can I even sharpen this? Like,
as possible.
But then understanding, like, when you have to take off so much metal, you have to thin it out, because it just creates this more of a thicker wedge, essentially. So you have to thin it out, and then it's just a fun process to restore something when someone thinks it's completely useless.
Mm-hmm. There was a video, and I think it just posted recently. This one was pretty wasted that you'd showed, you know, and it was just almost therapeutic watching this thing, you know, the process go through it, and it ended up turning out beautiful. So
it's probably that Shun knife.
Probably, I think it was. Yeah.
Someone from Tahoe sent that in. They mailed it in, and her husband used it to open up coconuts.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Yep. And I was like, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna throw this away. I'm like, don't, let me let me save it for you. And And she's like, now I'm hiding it, so you can't use it. So it's stuff like that that's, over time you kind of get like, it's mundane, just basic sharpening. But so it's fun doing the restorations, like removing rust. Someone brought me their grandpa's World War II a bayonet, so
wow.
It was cool doing that. And
that is cool.
And the K-bars and stuff like that. It's fun working on the higher end stuff, but also just stuff that means something to someone that has a story behind it. So I think that's pretty fun.
That is neat. Do you utilize the sharpening as more like? Cause I'm assuming like when you're on call with the fire department, I mean you're going, you're seeing a bunch of shit, you're coming home, you're exhausted. Is it therapeutic for you? I mean, to go through the process? Yeah.
I still do hand sharpening. So if I have some knives I have to do, that's not urgent, and the wife and kid are asleep, I'll zen out like in my house. I'll use the whetstones and just like I'll play some nice music in the background and I'll just go at it.
A little Kenny G.
Yeah, just anything that's super chill, man.
Yeah.
Just and it's fun. But yeah, like the therapeutic, we see some crazy things that. And so every time I have some headphones, I play some music, and I just get in a nice rhythm.
Mm-hmm. So you... Come on. Go. Hi. Stop. Allie, go lay down. Go. That'll happen.
Oh, all good.
So, as things are growing, is they're becoming more concrete and real? I mean, I know... As a firefighter, you're paying into PERS, and you don't necessarily have the option of just leaving, right? You guys got 25 years, I think, for fire and police,
yeah,
right?
I got hired in 2008, so max retirement is around 28 years for me. So I have a few years left until I could officially retire from the fire service and put more time into the knife sharpening.
Mm-hmm. And what's the long-term goal? I mean, when that does take off like that?
Yeah, so I'm living off the fireman's salary right now, and any income that I do get for the knife business is going back in it. I just bought a very expensive beauty shear sharpener, so I'm very fortunate in that sense. I can put every dollar I earn back into the company. But that's the long-term goal. Is just first I just sharpen basic knives, then serrated knives, then garden tools. And now I get so many requests for beauty shears, but I just don't do that. Mm-hmm. So I'm taking some extra training and then buying the right equipment and expanding into that as well.
I was thinking about that before you got here because a buddy of mine had a salon owner, I think, but stylist, and she was talking about how it's such an important tool for them if they're dull and they're not doing their job. I mean, you could make a mess of it real quick. But so it's a completely different animal.
It is.
With
that, you need completely different training.
Really?
You need higher. So you need more of a flat hone to properly do it. What I have is I don't have a flat hone until I.
Go lay down. Okay, go ahead.
All good. So, so people sharpen scissors on weird machines, and a lot of them have a convex edge, and the machines that they use put a beveled edge on it. And I don't think most estheticians or beauty salons will actually know that until they actually cut the hair. So the training that I'm going to be going to is really just trying to diagnose why these scissors are in such bad shape and how I can fix them to cut properly.
Okay.
So that's kind of the next phase of the knife guy sharpening is going into the beauty world, which I don't have much experience on. So I'm going to be trying to take some very good training from some reputable people all over the country, and then we'll see where it takes me.
We have a lot of I know a lot of academies for estheticians here locally and stylists, and so I think that you getting into that probably would be extremely beneficial for the company. I would assume, that these guys out there, especially when they're going through school and stuff, would want stuff, their tools to be as sharp as possible. Mm-hmm. That might be good. That might be a good gig.
Yeah. So I had some school reach out to me if I could come by to teach a class and sharpen for the students.
Oh.
So obviously that would be at a discounted rate because they're still in school. Their equipment isn't as high end essentially, but I can still teach them how to properly maintain it and care for their scissors, and then put a nice little sharpen on it for them.
We've had a couple minutes here to kind of process the American Metal whiskey. I mean, for a guy that doesn't drink a lot of whiskey, what are your thoughts?
I don't think I have like as good of a nose as you for picking out all the smells, but it's very smooth.
It is smooth.
I like that a lot.
I was, and I'll be honest with you, like I said, for the 90 proof, and I think this is perfect for you because what I was, when I was talking earlier, my original idea, it may have been, this is a really nice, smooth, easy drink. I like I said, there's a little, it's a little peppery, but it's not hot at all. I mean, it's really easy to drink.
Yeah. What's so on a basic day, what's your favorite type?
I'm a huge fanboy for Frey Ranch, and I think that, I am probably one of their biggest fans, and so I do, every time I get an opportunity for one of their single barrels, I'll try to find it, but it's all limited based on what my wife will let me buy. But this one right here is probably one of my favorites.
That's cool.
But yeah, there's a single barrel that I got that was pretty phenomenal. But it's not to say that there's any, most of this stuff on here. I mean, I've been very happy with most of these are show bottles, and so we've had very few episodes where I walked away going, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah.
So I've been very fortunate. Like I said, I think that the little bit of research to try to find these bottles for the guest has almost given me the time to find something that isn't going to be complete crap. You know. So we've been pretty fortunate. Yeah.
I mean, you might have to give me like a master class on this. So
I'll tell you what, I'm definitely not. Yeah, I'm definitely not at that level. But we do. Troy down at Battleborn Wine does these whiskey snob classes. And they are so much fun because you kind of get to delve into just like kind of the basics of whiskey drinking. And I think that it really helped me go from, drinking just Jack Daniels and Coke, Jack and Coke, to actually kind of starting to really process and try to learn more about the whiskeys that I'm drinking. And, like I said, I'm still really new in the whiskey game. So, I mean, I'm really not one of the best, but there's some really good stuff up here that's really made my heart sing, and so we'll definitely have to do some of that. Delve into that.
I'm in for that.
But yeah, like I said, so far with this, I think that was they have a I'm trying to remember now. I was on their website. It was sold out, I think, but they had some a higher proof stuff. I think it was a barrel proof that I was really interested in checking out, but it wasn't available on the website. So next time.
Yeah, I like this.
All right, cool. Well, I do want to, kind of sticking with the theme. I mean, it's tough because I as much as I want to sit here and just talk about your fire experience too, because I really enjoy, emergency services and the folks that are in those roles, right? So if we could, I don't want to take away from the fact that, you got this amazing business that you're going through right now, but let's talk about your fire, experience. I mean, we've had another firefighter on the show, and I think that the stories that come from that, especially with 17 years of service, I mean, I think I saw you were up at South Lake at some point, or is that all Truckee?
So I started with Sierra Fire. I did a season up in North Lake Tahoe as a wildland fireman.
Okay.
And then I got hired full time with Sierra, which merged into Truckee Meadows Fire.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's easy.
Yeah.
And not a lot of moving around. So what's your position? What's your rank? Or
so my title is a engineer. So pretty much I'm just a glorified Uber driver.
Okay. You drive the boys around.
Yeah. Pretty much. So. I got hired in 2008 full time as a fireman, and then promoted around 2011. I'm sorry. 2012 is when I got promoted to engineer. So just learning how to drive the fire engine, and then I got qualified to drive our ladder truck a few years ago, which is a completely different beast of just pumping it and then setting up the aerial ladder for it, and it's just a blast.
How tall does the ladder truck?
It's about 100 feet.
100 feet.
Yeah, and then the cool thing about Truckee Meadows, along with because Reno and Sparks has them as well, but we have our own hazmat team, which is called the Triad. So I'm part of the hazmat team and the water rescue team as well.
Oh, cool!
Yeah.
All right, on. So that's people just being dipshits and going to play in the river.
Yeah.
When it's freezing or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
my station is off of East Lake in Washoe Valley. So, we had a few boats like capsize like in the big Washoe. So we have our own little boat to grab them and perform rescues, and we train on it. It's so fun for all the different things that we get to do. It's not just the medicals, not just the fire, but just everything else. And just the different avenues of what do you want to do. If you want to be on the hazmat team or what a rescue team, it's just fantastic.
That's cool. I've seen there's the ladder trucks. There's one that you actually got the driver on the back too.
No, we're not cool like that yet.
Okay.
That's called a tiller truck. So you have someone in the back turning like the wheels. We just have a straight axle essentially.
Okay. I think Carson City's got maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Carson
They
got
do.
one.
Yeah.
Just not you guys.
No. Every time we see it, I'm like, oh, I wish we had that.
Yeah, that thing's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, so you're not even qualified to drive that thing.
No,
you
need you need like different calls like for that, and then guys, make sure I have my booster seats, in the rig since I'm on the smaller end, and so everything's great over there, man.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then one of the most important jobs is now being a father, and I think that with as much as you have going on in your life, I mean, we'll talk about the family, but at the same point, I want to see how has being a family man now affected your role at work and your role in your new side hustle, newer side hustle.
Yeah. Having my son and just seeing his eyes light up every time he sees me and my wife, it's just been amazing. So my knife sharpening business has taken more of a back seat because I'm putting him first, and my wife I want to see like my family just prosper, and then I don't want to put knife sharpening like ahead of him. If he's just yearning to play or do whatever, I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna go sharpen knives. I'll go hang out like with him.
That's
so
right.
And so I give my customers like, hey, I give them a heads up. Like, hey, usually my time frame is about like 1 day or so. Now it might be like 2 days, and I just sharpen when he's asleep or my wife is taking care of him. Being a fireman, I guess it just opens my eyes more of when we go on the kid calls, it actually affects me more of like, oh man, this is horrible. I mean, essentially kind of turned like myself off, like being immune to all the calls I've seen because they're horrible things that I don't want to bring back, having the PTSD or anything like that. And now like it does affect me more. I'm like, oh, it's a very weird feeling. I don't know if I can put into words of just having your own son and then being on these horrific calls. It's a very weird experience of like, man, I don't want anything to happen to him. So taking more of like a safety approach to everything. Like now I can't be as cavalier as I used to when I was 21 and like, yeah, let's just break down everything.
Go in, boys. Yeah.
Exactly. Now
Yeah.
I'm like, I have something else, I have a tiny human I have to look out for. And I was like, so it's putting me in more of like a safety position.
That's
if
good.
that makes sense.
It does. I was, when I first started with the state, I was out doing traffic counts, and so that required us, running the rubber hoses across the street, and on the highways and stuff like that. A lot of the times that there's loops in the road, and those loops get damaged through the winters with the plows and stuff like that. So, anyways, you have to run the hoses, and going out on like 395 north of Reno. I mean, it's it's through the North Valleys, and it's crazy. But the reason I'm telling you this is because when we had our family, it was all of a sudden I was like, I don't need to be doing this anymore. It totally rewired the way that my mind worked. I mean, I really loved the freedom of being out there and traveling the entire state and going doing this, this job, but at the same point, I mean, you're out there by yourself on the side of the road, running across it in between, cars and stuff. And I was, it completely changed me,
One thing that I actually stopped doing is picking up extra overtime. Mm-hmm. It's very easy for us to pick up overtime. It's like, oh, we want to do a trip or do this or that. But then I was like, I don't want to be, because my schedule is 2 days on, 4 days off.
Oh.
So it's a very nice schedule. But there's always chance of getting mandatoried if someone calls in sick. But I'm not picking up as much overtime as I used to because I want to be home with with my family and just seeing like my son grow up, which is, being 3 months old, there's, just seeing him when he was first born, put in the NICU to now like smiling and then just having this little laughs. I'm like, this is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I can use the knife sharpening money to offset any overtime that I might need, but I just haven't been picking up any overtime. So it's been fantastic just spending more quality time with the family.
And we talked about that a little bit before we started. I mean, it's tough when you're going for a full-time job, picking up that, that side hustle,
Yeah.
and then trying to differentiate that workload versus the family time, like shutting that all off. And we talked, about social media and how important it is to stay active on your postings and stuff like that,
yeah.
right? And it sucks because you give up a lot of time trying to chase. Our situations are a little bit different. It's a podcast. It's never going to pay for itself, but the knife sharpening business, it's the same thing where you got customers are going to be sending you stuff in, and I'm assuming that you're knowing that all this stuff's coming. You don't just get go lay down, please. Gosh.
My 95-pound dog does the same thing, man.
You want them to be protective, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're doing their job.
My dog is like the worst. If someone breaks in and they just pat him, he's like, okay, have fun.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
sleeping inside.
Yeah.
He's the worst guard dog
Yeah,
ever.
these things, they'll never bite anything ever,
Yeah.
but they just make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
A little yippy. But
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought. Anyways, so it's figuring out ways to spend time with the family, but also stay productive in what you're trying to accomplish, right? Because when your fire career is over and you're doing the knife thing full time, you're gonna be more heavily involved in the social media aspect of it and the content creation.
Yeah, and I dare I say that social media is actually harder than the knife sharpening.
Mm-hmm.
And what you and I just talked about, it's like you put all this time and money, or all the time and effort into it in hopes of, getting, having more access to different bottles, and then for me having product reviews, and now we're starting to sell knives and trying to push that out there, but it does take so much time away that I'd never even thought about. Like, I was trying to shoot some content of like that knife, a repair on that shoon that was used to open up coconuts, and I was out in my garage for like 2 hours just trying to shoot it, then edit it, and then go back in. It was just took so long that my wife's like, "What are you doing? You have your son." I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like it takes so much effort, and the return is not there.
Right.
But the biggest reason why I started to do like the social media on YouTube was I had the toughest times learning how to sharpen knives. And I was like, this thing is horrible. You have, like, you just type in knife sharpening and you have all these myriad of just different ways of people sharpening. And then you start to learn who you can trust, who you can't trust sharpening. And then, like, I think I trusted him, but he's teaching it wrong. And then you talk to 20 different sharpeners, you're going to have 20 different ways to sharpen a knife. Some would just like, this is how my dad taught me 50 years ago on this type of stone. Some guys will say belt sanders ruin knives. You have to use whetstones, and there's water-cooled stuff. It's as long as you put an apex on it and not ruin the temper of the steel, and you remove the burr, those basic steps, you can create any sharp knife. Anything else in between is just good. But I couldn't find anyone to help teach me how to sharpen knives, so just made my own mistakes, and then eventually found some people that, hey, try this instead, and then just have my own way to sharpen it. But yeah, it's very tough, and that's why I wanted to start my own YouTube channel of like, how if I started over, what would I want to know? And when I try to show people or teach people, like, this has worked for me, try it this way, and if it doesn't, here are 3 other different options that you can use, because not one way is better than the other.
And it's going to vary between manufacturer too, a lot of times.
So much. Unfortunately, like the manufacturers, like, they may get different steels in and say it's the same style of knife. So when you sharpen it, the steel affects differently on the belt sander that I use. So, and then a lot of times they don't do proper burr removal, which will just be the worst thing for the knife as well. Because if the burr is still left on, you have a weakened piece of steel at the very edge of it, and when it'll act sharp initially, but then you're just bending that folded steel into the knife and just making it super dull very quickly. So taking the burr off is a very important step, and sometimes they just miss that. So even on Microtex, and I mean, those are great knives, Microtex and Benchmates, but sometimes when I see them, like, no, it's brand new and the burr is still on. Like, because it's still, in my head, my first thought, I was like, oh, it's all machined out and people it's just machines are sharpening it. No, it's just people like just you and me trying to sharpen it and take the burr off. Sometimes they just miss it, unfortunately.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know there's this company, and I'm trying to think. I saw him on Mike Rowe's show, but he's the Montana Knife Company.
Oh yeah, those are great knives.
They're supposed to be, right? And I think it's kind of cool because, and it's kind of a sidebar, but he takes takes this knife and does like people get really excited for these new drops, and to take something, and I'm assuming that because these are crafted and it's a small business, these guys are experts, in their field creating these knives. You buy something like that, it's probably got a price tag associated to it that you're not going to trust anybody to take care of that. Now I'm assuming there's a lot of knife manufacturers out there that are similar in size and stature, but when people have the trust in you to send you something like that, I think that I'm assuming there's probably a lot of pressure on you to make sure that happens.
All the pressure.
Yeah.
Because I've had some people actually go to Japan, bought some very nice handcrafted knives, and they just weren't as sharp as I would expect it. But it's a very famous knife maker, and I was like, I'm dealing with very one of a kind type knives, so it takes more time in the prep work, taping up the knife properly, and then just doing bevel matching, so not taking off any more material than I have to, and and it's weird because besides the reviews I have on Google, people are just trusting some random guy with their knife, So
Isn't that wild? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, here's my $500 EDC knife. Can you sharpen? I'm like, yeah, this is fine, but doing it for over 3 years, the reviews I think speak for themselves on Google, of just people trust me now. Before, I had to build that trust and hustle very hard to sharpen everything at it. I was like, here, just give me all your knives. I'll sharpen them, and then trusting people, and we'll have people trusting me to sharpen, and then just building off that. But it still scares me. I'm like, okay, this thing is one of a kind or high end. I'm like, I don't want to scratch the patina of it, and some people ask very specific requests for the everyday carry knives, and so it's just we all like to show them off, so they prefer more of a higher end grit finish, so more of a mirror finish on that, and that affects how the knife cuts as well. So it's my job to let them know a coarser grit will cut easier in certain aspects, but it's not as pretty looking. So it's a fine balance of, if you want a show knife, I can get it a show knife quality, but it's just working with a customer, man.
Wow.
It's crazy.
What does a high end knife run? What would be a high end knife?
Monetary value, Spydercos are getting up there, but I think I just worked on a Microtech Scarab, which is $400 to $500. And you're like, okay, it's a very nice gold plated finish and on the knife, nice Cerakote on it, and then the guy's like, oh, there's chips in it, and he just wants me to finish this, so I just spend more time doing the prep work on that. But yeah, the Montana Knife Company, there's those are great knives. Winkler knives are really good as well. What it comes down to is how the steel is, how it's heat treated, and then it's kind of on the eye of the beholder as well. I have a very nice chef's knife, but I was like, I don't want to spend any more than this right here. But I know people who have a very nice collection of everyday carry knives, like Steve Austin. He has over 50 knives. Oh my god! And then just taking the time to just prep them, and then just go through my basic sharpening. But I've ruined knives when I first started, and it made me sick to my stomach. So the mistakes have taught me so much. I ruined this collector's knife of $500 when I first started.
Shoot.
Well, I'm trying to just grind. I'm like, I'll take every job that I can, and I didn't know what I didn't know. Unfortunately, and so the machine that I use, I put all these scratches in his knife, and because I didn't do any of the prep work, I'm like, it was sharp, but I'm like, oh, now you can't sell it because I ruined it.
Oh shit.
So I bought it back from him, and it's like, hey man, I'll pay you what you were gonna get for it. So it's just those mistakes of just, anyone who starts knife sharpening is gonna make a mistake. Unfortunately, just try to limit it on the cost.
Yeah, right. So when you take in somebody's knives like that, and that raises a good point. Is there some you're accountable for the blade, you're accountable for the sharpening, and then is there a clause? Like, did they sign something like, hey, this may go south, and I'm going to do my best, right? But accidents happen. What do you got for that in place?
The biggest thing is like when there's giant chips in it, and there's no actual written contract. It's just a verbal talk between me and them. But like on that shoe knife, I had to take off probably like a ½ inch of steel. And so when knives are created, there's a taper, and the higher up you go, even though I can create a sharp edge, it may not cut through food properly because it's just a wider wedge,
taper,
right?
Okay.
So then aesthetically, not aesthetically, but I have to grind down more steel. It's called thinning, which will like almost ruin like the aesthetics look of the knife if they want the original look. So telling them like, I can make it sharp, but it won't be as functional because it's wider, and I can't do anything with that unless I thin it out.
Oh, okay.
So it's just stuff that I didn't know at the beginning. It's like, oh, I'll make anything sharp, which is fine. But then they would reach out to me like, hey, it cuts well, but sometimes it gets stuck, and it's like, oh, I wonder why. It's like, oh, I have to thin it out. So it's just knowing like, the more you grind down on the metal, the thicker the edge it's going to be. So you have to do more sharpening to it.
Gotcha.
So it's just making all the mistakes initially and then just learning from it.
We had one of the block knives, one of the bigger knives, and I tried to use it for a saber, and I missed the cork and just hit the bottle, and that thing's just got a big old frump in it now. I save it just because it's funny, but like I said, after seeing your video with that one with all the chips in it, I was so impressed because
Thank you.
I was watching you, and you're as you're going through it, you're putting it in water to keep it from heating up, and I think that's a really fun tie-in because here you are, a firefighter, right? You're dealing with this metal that's formed out of heat, right? And then tying in that to this podcast, I thought was so cool because now we got charred barrels, right? Yeah. We set these things on fire. We make this beautiful nectar that comes from these things, right? It was really fun. I thought that was interesting that you found knives, and it's almost symbolic in form because all heat related, all this stuff, and like I said, now coming on the podcast was cool.
No, well, I mean, it's just, I never thought it would grow to this. It was just like I wanted to just take care of my own knives, and now it's just grown, and it's just, I mean, I have such a passion for it, man. It's fantastic.
When does your son get to start helping out in the family business?
Oh man, well, we already bought him like a onesie. It says like the Knife Guy Jr. with some butter knives on it. So so
that's cool.
As soon as, well, my wife might be watching. When he gets older, like old enough to help wrap up knives. So not saying I don't have him in the garage with me. Being my quality control expert, as soon as possible. Yeah. So
that's always fun.
Yeah, it's such a cool trade because like my dad tried to teach me how to sharpen a knife when I was a kid. And I'm like, I have no passion for this. Like we're making it duller, man. It's horrible. So I actually becoming very proficient and confident at it. And then it's a cool life skill, because everyone has knives. Everyone's knives get dull at some point. And I was like, cool, now I can pass this along. It's like, hey, even if you don't want to continue this business, which is fine, at least you know how to maintain like your own knives when you get older.
Does it seem to you that as things progress that this is going to be just a solo venture, or are you going to, grow it to some point? Like, do you see it in your head where you have employees at some point in the future?
For right now, it's going to be just a mom and pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your wife help out?
She does.
Okay.
She is amazing at it. So when we do mobile events, she's the intake person. So she's the greeter. I'm just the monkey behind the machine with my respirator on. So she's just a very people person. And so she takes all the knives and stuff I don't feel like I even taught her. She's like just rattling off. So she's just taking stuff in that I say to other customers when she is just in earshot of it.
Yeah.
It's cool. So she helps out so much of just the intake, and then she doesn't have a passion of sharpening itself, but just being my support role is just amazing. So I in any business I feel like you need that.
Yeah, of course.
So and then she definitely brings me back down. I'm like, oh, I can do this and this and this, and she's like, let's just work on this one thing right here. I'm like, okay, thank you. So she's definitely like my rock and just keeps me grounded and centered. And so it's great having her with me. And then I would love to keep this going like with my son, but if he doesn't want to keep doing this, it's just totally fine. At least I can teach him a skill as well, like,
sure,
over time.
I think that there was a a point where the Boy Scouts actually taught that. I mean, they were teaching them how to sharpen knives, and it's something that's so. I mean, I don't remember, and like I said, I tried, in my 20s, and it failed miserably, right? But so it is definitely a good trade to have.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And on top of that, it's one of those things where your competition. I mean, you don't have a ton of people out there that are going, "This is what we need to do." You have a bunch of clients that are going, "Shit, I need my knife sharpened." But when I saw you kind of coming into the expansion of it and talking about like lawnmower blades and then the shears and all that stuff, it's like there are so many things that you could learn to do, and there's so few people that are actually out there doing it. I think it's a great fallback after you retire. And so I'm very happy for you.
The biggest thing was like just not taking on so much at one time, and I think that's with any skill. Like, get very proficient with just flat edge knives, and then people bring you the single bevel knives, so you have to learn how to sharpen those, and then like debas, the actual Japanese knives for like filleting tuna and fish, stuff like that. So everything has its own little process of sharpening, and I'm still learning as well, so I reach out to other sharpeners too.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah.
Like, not too proud for that.
No.
Fantastic.
No, there's...
Get you more?
Please.
While we're here?
Of course, man.
Yeah, okay.
No, I wouldn't be here where I am if I didn't have the other connections as well. Because there's almost only so much you can learn on YouTube or watching videos. You need hands-on experience, and then talking to other sharpeners. Thank you.
Of course.
You need other sharpeners, like, to reach out, like, "Hey, have you sharpened this before?" It's like, "Yeah, I have. It's horrible. Don't take this job." Or it's like, "Yeah, try this with this grit belt and use this process," because all my friends who are sharpeners, we all sharpen differently, but in the same style process of like the same grits but different machines. So they have different experiences, because I've only been doing this for around 3 years. They've been doing it longer. So I have no shame of like, "Hey, I don't know how to do this. How do I sharpen this?" And on clients' knives or tools, I'm like, and I'm flat out honest, I'm like, I understand how to sharpen it. I don't know how. Let me reach out to a few friends. And then also, if I still don't feel comfortable sharpening it, I can refer them to other sharpeners.
Okay. The community, knife sharpener community, they're all pretty open to that kind of stuff. I mean, they're giving away information, trade secrets, that kind of thing.
No. Unfortunately not.
Yeah.
You have to build like trust. Like the couple of friends I chat with like almost every day, we have our own little guild essentially of we just chat like, "Hey, I'm doing this," and before is all like knife questions. Now it's more business questions of how we ask each other of how to grow businesses. But yeah, guys learn like the hard way, and take some years to master their craft, so they don't want to give it away for free, so they have to pay. And then it's very tough to find very genuine people out there who want to help other people. So when I started like the YouTube channel, to circle back on that, it's like I want to help people as much as I can. If I can get some extra like belts or equipment to test out and review, that's great. But the main thing is like, if there's someone else in my shoes, how can I teach them to start a knife sharpening business and different ways to sharpen and stuff like that without struggling like myself. It took months of just making mistakes. I'm like, I think this is right, and knowing that I was doing it completely wrong. So you have to reach out to other people to because not one person knows everything or is good at everything. So there's some guy here in Reno who's actually makes knives, and he's a master at the Japanese style knives. I'm like, so I referred people to him, and he's actually doing the beauty shears that I want to do. So since I'm not doing it yet, I'll refer people to him, and he refers people to me that are on my side of town that don't want to travel. So yeah, it goes back and forth.
Okay, well, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Not everybody's an asshole.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Good. Yeah.
People on YouTube, they always have different comments, and so you do need thick skin. Unfortunately, I mean, we're posting our lives and everything we do, and if we stutter or make a mistake online, they'll catch up they'll catch and then tell you that you're wrong. And people tell me all the time that belt sharpeners ruin knives, and to an extent, like they do. Because if you use a certain type of belt and you overheat the knife and you don't move it, you can temper the steel, like ruin the temper of the steel, blue it, and ruin that. And people say, how I'm taking off too much material, but then they don't see the close-up view that I can see of like, you have to take off so much material to apex the knife, remove the damage, and create a burr. So, and it's just people that, oh, I wasn't taught that way. And not many people have the open idea of, why are you doing it that way? I'm not being a jerk. I just want to know why. Not many people have that mentality, unfortunately. And when people do, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll teach you everything. And I've had a few people reach out to me who are, I wouldn't say my students, but they reach out to me for some guidance. I'm like, God, I never thought it would be, I'm just a random guy on YouTube.
Yeah,
you know, it's weird that they put that trust in me, but they see the work that I do, and they're like, okay. And take things from every different sharpener. There's 3 to 4 sharpeners that I look up to, but I don't like how they all operate. So I take what's best that works for me and put that into my own business.
And that's a really good point, because you're utilizing this from an entrepreneurial side, establishing your own best practice.
Yes.
And that has its own aspects. And I think for you, it's a different animal. I mean, I go in, I host a podcast, and I get these comments. It's like, all right, you fucking wasted an hour of my life, right? And it's like, I'm sorry, you could have turned it off at any point, right?
Yeah,
but you stuck
there.
around, and I love that. It's neat. But yeah, like you're saying, you have to have thick skin. Now you're in business, right? And you're unofficially becoming this cheer for the knife community, right? And people made, your word is gospel, and go, no, you're fucking this up. And so you probably do get a lot more activity, rather than the guy that's like, your show sucks, Well,
it's still like just one comment is just devastating. You're like, oh my God. And
it is tough.
Yeah, because, you just seeing this, you put a lot of work behind the scenes. You try to do research on your gas, you research on the bottle, and then you say one thing, and then people are like, oh, that's wrong,
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's just all the same. Just more people may get pissed off that don't like belt sanders. Like that's all. But and the reason why I don't do stones, and I still do it on occasion when I want to zen out and my family is just resting, is that the sheer volume that I have. So for example, if you can, let's say if whetstone sharpening is like the 100% mark of like the best sharpening, belt sanding is right there, in my opinion.
Oh, really?
Because I can adjust the angle to whatever it is. So when after this, when I sharpen like your knives, I'll make sure it's like the exact same angle, and to remove like the broken chips and repair the tip on it just goes so fast. And then people like to wait and watch me sharpen. So I don't want them to wait like 30 minutes to 1 hour. It's like, all right, hold on, let me sharpen.
Yeah.
That's just for me at night, just to zen out. And people are busy. They want fast turnarounds. So the belt sander with my process goes very, very fast. And that's what people love. It's very efficient, very fast, and they get super sharp knives.
I wanted to kind of circle back to the pop-up events that you're doing, right? So you're mobile too. I mean, you're doing this thing. You have the ability to go places and do this. It's not just all out of your garage.
Yeah. So being a full-time fireman, I sharpen it out of my garage. So we turned the garage into my own little workshop, and we only do mobile sharpening for restaurants right now and events. Just for it takes a lot of time to pack everything up and offload it, load it up. I mean, like set everything up, then offload. It's a full day. So I only do it for like events in restaurants right now.
Okay.
So it's just because they just have a sheer volume and they can't bring them to me because they need everything sharpened there. So I do sharpening in batches for them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're loading up all your garage tools and all that stuff into a trailer or truck.
In my truck.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I bought so it's more of a condensed version of my home equipment. So.
Gotcha.
Instead of my 3 machines, I just have 2 right here. One for sharpening, but with different belts, and then my deburring station with a Scotch-Brite wheel, and then a leather wheel as well. So, and it's just smaller equipment just for this right here. But yeah, in time, I'd love to have a trailer. Have 2 of everything, and then just like load up and then go, and then that would just make me way more versatile.
Uh-huh.
So, but again, working full time as a fireman, father, and you're like, I have to pick like my battles.
Sure.
And so
so you do events, and what do you have? You talked about the rib cook-off.
Yeah.
And there's so many things I think that Reno offers that you would fall right into. People that absolutely like, street vibes. I was talking to my buddy AJ, And he's doing a lot of stuff with Reno Harley Davidson, and I was like, these guys got these big ass, these
Oh yeah.
Crocodile Dundee knives on them. I was like, that'd be rad if this, if Vinny was there, post it up and getting these guys knives done real quick. But it's neat because knives are everywhere. Everybody has knives, and it's such a vast, abyss. You could go so deep into this thing. It's crazy. Yeah. But how many events are you doing right now?
Not as much as I want to. Like we just sharpened for a community, for a HOA community that hired us to sharpen for a handful of the households there.
Oh wow!
So that's cool.
That is cool.
I reached out to Russ at Nevada Cerakote. We've done a few pop-ups over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now I've had a few restaurants underneath like my belt. They want me back every quarter. Some want me back every month. So not real pop-up events, but more just mobile sharpenings. There's a cooking store in South Reno at the Summit Mall that wants me there every month. Williams Sonoma.
Wow.
So talking to the managers there and trying to coordinate a time, and I told him like my biggest thing is like I'm putting like my family first. Yeah, like like having the kid there. I mean, not having the kid there, but taking care of him, and because the money's good, but it's just like I can push all that aside and just take care of my son. Like. So now it's like, okay, I can't be so selfish to worry about myself, which is a weird feeling of just like, now I have someone else to really worry about. So I'm not doing as many as I would prefer, but I'm still keeping busy at it. So, but no, I mean, I wish I could do the farmers markets every Sunday. There's another sharpener there that's doing really well. Just I can't commit to every Sunday just with my work schedule as well. So
yeah, that's tough. I was going to say. I lost it. I had a good one. Anyways, so you're... Shit. I just shit the bed on that one. Come on, you guys. Perfect timing. God dang it.
We were talking about the pop-up events.
Yeah, I was really excited about that one,
mobile
too.
Sharpening. You were talking about Harley Davidson. Everyone has knives. Talking about how everyone has knives, like, the gun owners out there, like, like there's a gun show, stuff like that, and everyone's walking around with a pocket knife and stuff like that. But yeah,
you have to really figure out where how much time you're willing to spend on because Reno will keep you super busy.
Yeah, and then Reno is still like a smaller city, but if I wanted to stay busy 7 days a week, I could. And I'm just now picking and choosing what I want to do on sharpening on the side, and then still spending enough time with my family. So it's a very tough balance, and it's all new.
Do your pricing, and we don't need to necessarily talk about the exact pricing, but how do you gauge your costs for what you're going to do?
Oh, I'm probably a horrible businessman. So I charge a flat rate of just $10 per kitchen knife.
Really?
Yeah. I do charge a little bit more for the EDCs just because it takes a little bit more steps of the prep work and then going to the higher grit, so it just takes more time.
Okay.
But I don't charge extra for taking the fixing the tips or chips on knives. I just think that should be part of the customer service aspect, but that's just me. Some sharpeners charge $1 to $2 per inch. I don't want to measure. I don't want to I don't want to haggle with a customer if this knife is 4.5 inches or 5 inches. Like, if you count 5 knives, it's $50. Like, it's very basic. I'm a very simple-minded guy, and I want to keep it very simple. I don't want to charge extra for anything, and I think all my customers find it very fair when they find out the pricing, because they're like, oh, it could be $20 a knife or something. Like, no, it's pretty relatively cheap for what it is. And then we just started a loyalty program, so like, your 10th knife is free. So I'm just trying to think of ways to bring customers back as well.
Fantastic.
And then because we all get used to dull knives, unfortunately. So, but for the bigger items, like I had a customer bring me 2 swords. He's a very big fan of Lord of the Rings, so he brought me.
Wow.
Yeah, so he brought me the Ranger's sword and the Andriel sword. Hopefully, I'm saying those right. And I'm like, oh man, so like there's no edge on it. So it's just a replica sword. So grinding a lot of steel off. So, I'm like, this will probably take me like 1 hour. So I just charged him X amount, and he was like, oh, I was going to pay you way more. I'm like, yeah, I'm a horrible like businessman. Like, the thing is, I'm just doing this like for the passion. I could just nickel and dime. Like, nope, the tip is broke. I'm going to charge you $5 extra. You have all these chips. I'll charge extra. Oh, I have to put new serrations in. I'll charge extra. Like, I'm not relying on this for income. It's just a passion of mine. So that's why I feel I can just include all that with my pricing.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I think when I was originally thinking about this, looking at, you're taking these hundreds of dollars of knives, right? And you're like $10, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That is, I mean, that's great, for the customer, so that's fantastic. So what's the typical time on a knife? Like, how many hours are you spending getting this thing dialed in?
So at my house, I have 2 actual sharpening machines, and then my buffing machine. So if I had to time it like one per knife, less than 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that kind of work. I mean, yeah. So you're able to knock a bunch out. I was trying to think about, I was calculating the hourly rate, but
yeah.
Okay. So it's a little bit quicker than I would assume.
Yeah.
Like, if you had one that's really like that coconut knife.
Yeah.
Right.
Honestly, it didn't take too much longer. The only reason it took longer is because I had to let it cool in that in the glass water. I mean, my initial starting is very basic. I start with a 120 grit belt. That's to reprofile it and take out all the damage and apex it. Then I refine it to a 600 grit belt, and then after that, a 1200 grit belt to really put a mirror polish on the edge and make it very, very slicey. And then the final step is to take off any burr that's left over.
Okay.
The things that do take longer is if there's rust. I have other stuff to take the rust off. So I just fixed this Deba. It's on my social media of just it's a high carbon knife, so there's lots of just rust on it. So that took probably like a solid hour.
Okay.
But I didn't quote the person. It's like, hey man, this is more of like a fun project for me. So it's still a very cheap price. But yeah, I don't try to overcharge people. I think $10 is very fair, and try and make it kind of like the Arizona iced tea. Just keep it a very steady price for as long as I can.
Yeah.
So, because we got hit with with some tariffs actually for importing the knife sheaths, because I have custom made knife sheaths for my business. So after I'm done sharpening, each knife has its own correct size and length sheath to protect it for travel.
Oh.
And people even still use in their kitchens to put their knives away, but I don't want to put all the hard work into me sharpening and then maybe cutting themselves, and the knives fly out of the towel. I want to protect them as much as I can.
That's fantastic.
So stuff I include that the customer doesn't pick up. So yeah.
So interesting. That is customer service. I mean, fantastic. I did not know that when they're going back. I assumed that you keep the original packaging when they.
Oh, people.
But yeah, I mean, shit.
Talking about Steve, like he brought me the 50 knives in plastic bags, and I'm not joking. Knives were falling out of the plastic bag on the floor. I'm like, this is just not safe, man. So if you go back in his timeline, so my process, I sharpen everything, I clean them off with the isopropyl alcohol to take off any metal shavings or rust as well. So I cut the protective sheaths with each knife, put a nice little swag sticker in there, and then I wrap everything up in butcher paper. I put a care card in there of how to maintain your knives, because I get that question a lot, of what's the best way to maintain them between sharpenings. And you can hone them with a ceramic rod, but the biggest thing is hand wash only, avoid the dishwasher, use the right cutting board as well. Don't use do not use like your granite countertop as your cutting board. It'll just ruin knives. And then I give them a couple business cards, and then I just started with a loyalty program card. So I'm trying to just think of like the best way to give back to the, I always love the idea of, you go to a butcher, you get your steak, and it's wrapped up in nice butcher paper, and it's like, this is going to be great to cook up tonight. I want that experience of like, you unwrap it kind of like a present, and it looks like that butcher experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So you got, you're utilizing YouTube as your primary focus for your how-tos or your process videos?
Yeah, I was very, very tough to try and find of how I wanted to present it. I made a really good video of like how to start a knife sharpening company, and then I just show a lot of videos like shorts of just me sharpening. But then we started this knife care 101 series on Instagram as well. I'm gonna put on YouTube of just like how to properly care for your knives. Not all of us are around a knife sharpener, unfortunately. So what's the best way to maintain them before or like between sharpenings? So it's just trying to find like what I want to teach and hopefully help someone else in the process.
So you're not afraid to disclose your trade secrets to anybody that's willing to learn.
No, I don't feel like knife sharpening is that hard. I mean, because there's a knife sharpener here in Carson City, and he sharpens at the Riverside Farmers Market, and we chat every day. So
cool.
He is competition, but several 100,000 people in Reno, there's enough for a few of us here.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. There's a couple knives out there.
Yeah. So there's no real trade secrets. Like I'm actually experimenting with different wheels to deburr. And the more you research, the more you realize you don't know anything.
Yeah.
And so I'm using a leather wheel with a 2-micron diamond spray. All that means is a very fine particle diamond spray as the abrasive. That's all that means. Now there's different microns out there, different sizes. There's different wheels. So I'm kind of like a mad scientist experimenting right now because I have my sharpening process dialed. Now it's just like fine tuning it, what's fastest and what leads to best results.
When you're sharpening the knives and I'm not taking so much of this shit out. God, my mind is just fucked.
All good, man. All good.
Let me try to rephrase that. I had a really good question. God.
I guess this is just hitting different. That's all.
It is, dude. 90 proof. Come on now. Jeez.
I mean, I can't recall last time I actually had anything neat like this.
Okay.
It's very smooth.
It is. It really is not a bad whiskey.
Yeah. So like my wife makes some cocktails at the house, man, and it's always like mixed drinks, and so it's very, very rare that I have anything neat like this. One
of the hardest parts, I think, for a lot of people when we get into the show, because I really don't even give people the opportunity to do you want an ice cube? Do you want do you ever drink whiskey neat? And I think that it's the only way to actually delve into the body of what you're trying to drink.
Of course,
it's tough. I mean, it's hard because a lot of people, are so used to, they have almost PTSD from, college or high school, or whatever, when you're just shooting whatever, right? Yeah. And it's like Goldschlager or whatnot.
It's all
right?
low end stuff, and you get drunk and puke on.
Yeah. And so this, this experience has been a little bit different, where we're trying to open the minds. When you pop the cork, it's I had my buddy Mike Mason on here, and he drinks Fireball, but that's about like the most whiskey he'll drink. Yeah. And we tried on that it's a Coors product, the 5 Trail, and he's like, I don't ever really drink whiskey like this, but we got to kind of just get deeper in the whiskey and the conversation, and it was a lot of fun. And so it's neat because then you can leave here and go, people are so wrapped up in just shooting drinks or mixed drinks and stuff like that, and take a second.
They can't appreciate it.
They don't. And when you find these bottles, that the distillery and the master distiller spends so much time trying to curate this beautiful product, right? And you got people that have no respect for and it ties right back into taking care of your products with your business. These people entrust you to give them a good output from this thing that's seen all sorts of shit. Probably it has a backstory. It's been through birthdays and holidays and all these things. Like you're living proof that you can breathe that life back into something that's been exhausted. So
yeah, I love that.
Very cool.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. With that, I do want to give you an opportunity to do your thing, let everybody know where they can find you.
Awesome.
And go from there.
Well, thank you. So again, my name is Vinny Mergolo. I am a knife sharpener in South Reno. You guys can find me at thenifeguyreno.com or at thenifeguyreno for Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok as well. So we just updated our website to accept mail-in knife orders, and also we are selling our own knives as well. So we partner with a Reno company that actually makes them, and when you buy from us, we offer lifetime sharpening with these town color knives. So I wish I brought some just to show you, but they're on the website. They're very high-end steel, beautiful knives, and people ask me all the time, what knives would I recommend for them to buy? And I think that's a very personal question of what I feel in my hand. I feel hundreds of knives. I'm like, I like the weight of this, but I don't like the shape or the aesthetics. Great steel. So there's very different things that I like and don't like about very high-end knives, unfortunately. And then when I found this company here in town, they hit all the check boxes. They showed us a tour. They welcomed us in very nicely, just like family, and showed us the whole process, the type of steel that they use. They use on some of their Tahoe Bliss lineup, they use Buckeye burl wood with blue resin to pay homage to Lake Tahoe.
Oh, wow.
They actually use Russ for to Cerakote some of their knives as well, which looks incredible. So they're keeping everything local, which I love. So we started to carry that, and so we sell that, and every knife that people buy from us, we include lifetime sharpening.
I wanted to ask you this earlier, but when we have a Cerakoted blade, what does that look like on the sharpening process?
It's the same thing, except I do a lot more prep work.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you sharpen, there's a thing called edge leading sharpening or edge trailing. All that means is on the belt, which way is a belt coming towards you or away from you when you're sharpening. I prefer edge leading because I think it minimizes the burr a lot more than edge trailing, and it just makes a more uniform scratch pattern as well, and it's just easier to sharpen and take the burr off. So when I do that, sometimes like the metal shavings go on the knife. So on the Cerakoted ones, or more the ones that don't have scratches, I put a lot of tape on, really protect it, and then I wipe it down every time I transition to different belts. So it just takes more of a process, and you just don't want to scratch this up because they show very easily if there's any scratches, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
I mean, we all have the stainless steel knives that just show scratches from this use with abrasive sponges or the dishwasher, and so we're used to that. When people have something different, they try to protect it more. So it's my job to preserve it as much as I can.
Fantastic. As an entrepreneur, what advice do you give? And this is just as a general rule of thumb. I mean, somebody that decided to step out of the box and try something completely left field. What advice would you give somebody that's looking into that?
Into starting their own knife business?
Any business.
Any business.
Yeah. Like, look at you. The reason I'm asking, you have a job that you're pretty much stuck with. You're not leaving.
Man, I really think find something of what you're passionate about. Like, honestly, I'm not getting rich making $10 like per knife, right? So this is a passion of mine. Find something that you're passionate about and start small and get really good at what you do at the beginning, and then start expanding after that. Nerd out as much as you can. I've taken classes in person. In the firefighter world, I've taken classes in person, and then with knife sharpening, finding teachers, and understand that you're going to make mistakes. Just it's business. No one is going to teach you for free, unfortunately. So, and if you do it on your own, it's going to take you a long time. So start small, but find something that you're passionate about. If you want to just earn $1, there's plenty of jobs out there that you could just do to make a lot of money, but you're going to do a crap job at it because you don't have passion for it. I think that's what separates me, is that there's other sharpeners that only do knife sharpening, and so it kind of gets the mundane, like I have to do this to make $1. Like, I don't have to worry about that because I'm living off my fireman's salary. So I have the passion of like, I can take my time and really hone in on the actual sharpening and just do a really good job, and put the customer service from the fire department to the knife sharpening and give back as much as I can. Fantastic. So anyone who's starting a business, find what they're passionate about, and then you will succeed. Just know you're going to make some mistakes, but keep at it, because finding out most knife sharpeners quit after 2 years because it's just a grind. Pun intended.
No.
But it really is. So you have to just I mean, you're gonna get shot down a lot through restaurants. No one's gonna hire you. No one's gonna trust you until you make a name for yourself. But how do you do that? You have to just hustle and just put the time in. And it's very tough. I don't know if I could have done this while having a kid. I don't think I could put the time enough hustling to every restaurant, handing out business cards, getting shot down 99% of times except one restaurant, and now they trust me, and then they have their own inner circle. And like, no, this guy does a great job, and that's just expanded to several different restaurants, and now they all trust me, and it's blowing up from there. So it's just, yeah, find what you're passionate about.
Fantastic. All right, with that, I wrote a little final toast to the whiskey that warms us, the blade that serves us, and the firefighters who run headfirst into the fire. May we never lose our edge. So with that, Vinny, thank you for coming down. Cheers.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. American Metal Whiskey, I was apprehensive, and I'm gonna say that with all my heart. With the lower proof, under 5 years, I had my reservations. I do want to say that I was very, very surprised, pleasantly surprised at the quality that came out of this bottle. So you guys are doing a very good job. I appreciate AJ. Thank you for bringing this over and letting us have this on the show. You can find me at all the socials at Bourbon and Ballistics, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the works. I just dropped a merch line. You can go check it out. It's Bourbon and Ballistics at printful.me, and you can see some of the stuff there. And till next time, I do want to say thank you, Vinny. Had a blast. I appreciate it. And we'll catch you next time on the Bourbon and Ballistics podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Across state lines with hillbillies and guns. It's been a hell of a ride and a whole lot of fun. They gave me many names down there in Dixie, but the man